I was a little bit skeptical, to be honest with you. It sounded like something out of a sci-fi movie. You know, you go to an X-ray and you see bones moving. The whole thing was really, you know, not sci-fi at all, to not be funny, but, you know, it was pretty amazing because even after I was done, right then and there, he was able to say, okay, you know, look at this is what's wrong with you. It's the one thing that, you know, found out what was wrong with you. It was really the DMX that kind of got everything rolling. It was enough information for the health insurance to say, okay, you know, let's take this seriously. Let's get her the consult with the surgeons. Let's find out what's wrong with her. The short-term disability, you know, got the forms and he said, okay, you know, there is something here. So my disability wasn't, you know, approved. So we could continue to at least try to live and keep the house and everything. And then most importantly for the car insurance, I mean, they didn't want to believe that I was injured. You know, it was supposed to be whiplash. That's what it was. That's what everybody said it was. And you're not supposed to be able to prove it's anything else. And this is the insight and of being able to say, hey, you're wrong. We are able to see it, even though it's not a broken bone, and this is what's wrong. And thank God I had it, or they never would have settled. They never would have even got to a point to have that discussion. We'd still be fighting with it. It's so nice to smile again. I don't walk with a cane anymore. I can drive a car for the first time in over a year. I've been able to go to movies. So it's nice to get back to the things that I love doing. If there's a new way to look for something, then try it. It's the only thing that tells the answer. So if you feel like you have no hope and you don't know where to turn, why not try it? Why not, before you give up and say, okay, all hope's gone? Because it's the one thing that worked for me.
The main value to the digital motion X-ray technology is we're able to diagnose ligamentous injuries. MRIs cannot do this. CT cannot do this. Static X-rays cannot diagnose this. The way the MRI operates, it's only designed to look at the discs and spinal cord. Most people who are injured in whiplash injuries don't injure those two structures. It's the ligaments they injure. So a lot of times the MRIs will come out negative or unremarkable, and people will think, gee, maybe it's just in my head. It's absolutely not in their head. It's in their neck. Insurance companies pay for this procedure. There's an AMA CPT code that reimburses for this particular procedure. The patient's able to keep their clothes on. The only thing they have to remove is jewelry. They don't have to eat anything special or fast before the day. They come right in, and within a matter of minutes of filming time, we can usually figure out what's the cause of their pain. It uses very low radiation. Like I mentioned, we use 2 MA. A hospital or a doctor's office would use 100 to 200. We're at 2. So we're extremely low. And the reason we can get these great images with very low radiation is we're intensifying the image electronically. And we hear from our doctors that patients actually get well to a higher level. They recover faster because they now know there really is an underlying reason for their pain and discomfort. From the standpoint of what I do for a living, it objectifies what has heretofore been invisible injuries that require an adjuster or a jury to accept on blind faith what the patient is saying. With the digital motion X-ray, you can show it to them. They can see for themselves, and it's night and day. Like I said, it is a picture which is worth 1,000 words, and it's very convincing because it's real. I mean, we certainly have no problem with static X-rays. All this is a series of X-rays that shows the body in motion. When you're talking about an injury that manifests itself when the body is in motion, you can't duplicate that with a static X-ray. What the digital motion X-ray did for us and subsequently to her case was to objectify her injury. It is the picture that's worth 1,000 words. It removes the leap of faith that you're asking this insurance adjuster to believe in terms of what is going on with this patient. I think it's very valuable on both ends. On both ends. Valuable to the ones that do suffer real injury to get what they deserve for their injury, and also to weed out those that aren't. So that, if the idea is getting to the truth, this helps you to get to the truth. And if the truth is there is an injury there, then a person should be compensated appropriately.
It brings out a whole new spectrum of understanding of injuries that would normally be blown off to you're nuts, man, you have chronic pain, man, you have chronic headaches, man, you need to be in chronic pain management, including high-dose narcotics for the rest of your life, man, you file for disability, and maybe a significant part of that population, in fact, has a real problem that digital motion X-ray may reveal. The video fluoroscopy I've seen from X-ray departments, the best X-ray departments, simply does not give the kind of picture that I saw. I was really astonished by seeing these first DMX pictures, and it was very useful because what it did was it showed the problem, and the problem was in motion.
What does the MRI not capture and the DMX can capture?
Instability in motion. Injury of ligaments that may not show up as overt tears, as masses that have blood clots in them, but rather that are stretched. You don't see that on a static image. I don't know whether the number is hundreds of thousands or millions, but there is certainly whiplash injury is one of the most common injuries that are in car accidents. In all of these, if there is not a solid diagnosis and a patient is going on to the point where they're requiring chronic pain management, for example, or they can't work, or their lives have changed, I think now that this modality is available, it's ridiculous that they not at least undergo the modality and determine if in fact there is a problem that we could address non-surgically or surgically, but at least identify the problem. And I think this is a very, very valuable modality.